Okay, welcome back to another short episode. This time we are going to talk about the question of if you can choose either to plant a tree or to plant a bunch of grasses, which option would you choose? I'll tell you that planting a tree is always more beneficial than planting grasses. But first of all, what is a tree? A tree refers to a plant that is relatively long-lived, that has got woody structures, it has got a main tree trunk, and most importantly, they have the potential to grow over 5 meters or 14 feet in height. And in this case, palm trees and bamboos are not regarded as true trees because they don't produce any woody structures. But on the other hand, what is a grass? A grass refers to any plants that belongs to the taxonomical family of Poaceae. What grasses are in common is that they have got a really shallow root system, they tend to consume a lot of water for growth, and instead of gaining height like trees, they tend to use a lot of energy in growing horizontally and spreading out, and they usually turn yellow or brown when not enough water is available. So what were grasses planted for? Grasses are often planted for providing food like corn, rice, and wheat for agricultural purposes, but for non-agricultural purposes, they are often planted as grass lawns, which are used for providing space for activities. And nowadays, lawn grasses already became one of the most widespread and widely cultivated crops out there. And do you know what they are famous for? Is that they're usually known for consuming a lot of space in places that land is relatively valuable and limited, and they also requires a lot of water to keep them green, and they also require a lot of maintenance in order to keep them decapitated because long grasses can be useless for activities. So what about trees on the other hand? Well, trees can be planted for a variety of purposes. They can be planted for harvesting wood, they can be planted as ornamental plants for fall colors or for flowers, and they can also be planted as windbreaks for their fruit, which can be used to provide food and medicine, and their bark can also be useful in a variety of ways too. And most importantly is that trees actually nurtured humans throughout history. They taught us things like physics, art, biology, and ecology. They also provided us shelter throughout history. And so humans won't become the people that we are today if it wasn't for trees. When compared to grasses, trees also require a lot less space to grow. Besides that, a single tree can be a lot bigger than a single blade of grass. Grasses focuses on horizontal growth. They focuses on growing by spreading out into different areas, but trees focuses on vertical growth. Despite that trees can come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, some are broad and wide and some are slender and narrow, but what they are in common is that they tend to grow slower and live longer than grasses, and they also provide shade in the areas around them. And trees also tend to led to the rise and nurtured a lot of other life forms throughout the history of life on Earth itself. Because if it wasn't for trees, then things like climber plants, arboreal animals such as birds, koalas, and wasps, bees, and also plants that grow directly on the bark of trees such as tillandsias and parasitic plants and funguses won't even exist. So when you compare tree-based ecosystems like the various types of forested areas that you can find in various parts of the world, with grass-based ecosystems such as savannas, grasslands, and prairies, you would notice that tree-based ecosystems, forests, are a lot greater in biodiversity. You can find a lot more different species of animals or plants there. Another point why trees are so great for the environment is that when compared to grasses with the same amount of biomass, trees can generate a lot more oxygen and rainwater. Because in general, trees absorb a lot more carbon dioxide when they do photosynthesis, and also the majority of water that the trees absorbs that they consume through their roots are actually evaporated back into the atmosphere. And that's where 99% of all the waters that trees observed went, and they only uses really little water in comparison for typical growth and photosynthesis. And that's why trees are so good at generating rain clouds and fog for precipitation somewhere else in other areas when compared to grasses. And to sum up this video is that planting trees is always a better option when compared to planting grasses, and choosing the right types of trees is also really important because different types of trees are adapted to different conditions. This is why they are found in different parts or different ecosystems in the world. And my advice would be that you can make this decision by learning about the background and the ecology of certain trees. And once again, thank you for watching.